Welcome back to the PPC week number 1. We're over in NA now, and there's so much talk about washing your hands and things like that, and there's some good rules of thumb to follow. 3 things I think that you can do. If you want to know how long to wash your hands, you either sing Happy Birthday twice, sing the chorus to Mr. Brightside, or watch that Balamansa Mandrake's University set, and by the end of it, your hands will be nice and clean. We're over in NA now, though. We're talking about snapping and triple deeps. Dolson joined by Kresnik to talk about it with me. And another region, Kresnik, that I still think will be somewhat contested.
Yeah, I think so, especially the teams that we have against each other today. The groups, I think, were kind of one-sided, but I think that's just to say that the top half of NA, of those groups specifically, are close. I mean, I think the talent across these rosters are kind of surprising because some of these players we hadn't really seen much of recently, even in the PML, but they managed to find their way into this PPC. Triple Deeps roster, a couple new faces. Even on Snap It, we have WoodKnock, some we haven't seen before, so I'm excited to see some of the new talent mixed with the old blood go against each other.
Oh, and we have been giving Bones, I feel like, so many props throughout the past few weeks and through qualifications. He has played out of his mind, so I'm excited how he matches up. Let's get the maps for set number 1, or game number 1, rather, of set number 3. Serpent Beach is where we will head. Frog Isle, Frozen Guard, taken away. Warder's Gate, Ascension Peak on the other side, banned out as well. We saw Flashpoint in our first set of the day pick some interesting compositions on this map. Be remiss if we, of course, didn't mention the slight verticality difference in their composition. They just stalled out time and time again on that offensive push. But, you know, when we talk about picks and bans, Kresnik and Triple Deeps is in the conversation. I think you gotta wonder if they're just gonna pick triple deeps every single time.
This is a map for it too. I mean, it's not bad. I remember back in the day seeing some Fnatic Nando solo tank triple DPS, so I wouldn't be shocked to see it. And one thing I'm really not shocked to see is them ban Evie. A lot of these console hybrid teams are getting rid of it because they just don't want to have to deal with it. Some of their players aren't able to find the wormholes, get the Evie that's flailing in the soar around. So makes sense to just get rid of it. If it's the one factor that's making things a lot harder, get it off the table, work from there.
Eevee gone, Furia the same. Raum and Genos, though. So Raum, somebody who played a massive role over in EU earlier this morning, going to take a back seat here for game number 1 in NA. Androxus picked up. That's obviously picked up pretty heavily in the last set we saw over in Brazil, and I think he's now at a spot where every once in a while, you know, at the end of last year, they would pick an Androxus here and there, but I think he needs to be considered a threat kind of at any time in the meta that we're seeing now.
Oh, for sure, especially on Serpent Beach. He's going to be monstrous here with how well he can play kind of at a distance, poking you away while gliding, having a lot of safe places to use that accursed arm. Big surprise for me, not only is Snap-in taking 2 tanks early, because you know that Triple Deeps don't really want them. Io, someone we haven't seen in a while. Goddess Blessing was inaccessible because of the difference between the text and what the ability was actually doing, but now that she's back, I am kind of surprised to see her here. I guess it makes sense, right? She's kind of a pseudo-tank, putting that Fox on the point.
What was it that Mr. Hayes got? Like a quadra kill or something nuts with an IO on this map specifically? So she certainly has her place when played properly. The big conversation with IO at that point is, not only do you know how to play with her because she brings a much different play style, but does the other team know how to adapt to playing up against an IO? So something to look at as we move into game number 1. Moji and Kinessa locked in, though, for the DPS here for Triple Deeps. Androxus as well to round out their 3. Interesting, though, seeing Kinessa and Moji locked in.
Yeah, you could say that. That's definitely a word for it. I think this Strix will be pretty strong into that Moji, but the Andy's going to make his life tough. That Andy's going to be all over him, I think, and they're going to have to. That Moji's going to be basically on tank burning duty exclusively.
Well, Triple Deeps not leaving anything up to the imagination here. Their name says it all. They're going to pick 3 DPSs. Androxus for a little extra mobility. Kinessa, presumably, to kind of sit back on that high ground and hold the long angles. And Moji to run right up in your face and do a good bit of damage. Game number 1 of our 3rd and final set of today about to kick off. We got Serpent Beach. We got Snappin'. We got Triple Deeps. What do you make of that Moji, though, with Ghogert? I think was it Triple Deeps? There was somebody who just ran Moji consistently in one of those qualifier weeks. Oh, it was somewhere over in Brazil.
Yeah,
but what do you make of Moji?
King Kaiser over in Brazil. Right. See, before I watched that game, I would have been like, I don't know why they're picking this. It's a huge map. What's he gonna do? I think Ghost is going to stand next to the point. He's going to burn anyone on it, and anyone who pushes him is going to take an outrageous amount of damage. There, I said it.
Yeah.
It might actually be okay. In every fiber of my being is telling me not to say this, but after watching that one game, I actually don't want to side against it.
Well, we bring it up so much in watching this Triple Deeps composition play. A prayer for our boy WaduHekington playing solo tank with Triple Deeps on his team. He's playing a con this time, so you'll have to pick and choose those engagements smartly. You don't have the largest health pool or the best sustainability, a little in that battle shout to keep you alive and in these fights, but definitely have to choose the moment properly. Snappin have a small 3% on the point, but Gogert's found maybe the moment that he chooses to get aggressive, has somebody on either side of his wall here. First blood, though. Amos finds the kill onto Poison, then a cascade of two as Ghogert and Wadu find a couple. It's a 2-for-2 trade here so far. Triple Deeps. They have a Khan, Kinessa, and Moji left alive. FlameFX, he drops as well, most recently for Snappin, and nobody's barely touched the point at all, Krusnik.
There's been constantly contested between the Inara and the IO, and I mean, if you're playing solo tank Khan on this map, it's a nightmare. On Serpent Beach specifically, but you don't want to get on point. That puts yourself at your biggest disadvantage. Unless your team controls that top right side, you can't really stand on that objective, and control goes away, and so does Ghogert.
Well, it's a 1-for-1. Ghogert finds his first death of the game, but Strix back in base as well. Evulli loves this Bomb King, and I love watching him play it. Poppy Bomb backwards. He's found a bit of a flank around the backside. WaduHekington and finds an opening here. Poison with that reversal finds a little bit of safety, but not much else. Cool falls as well. Snappin suddenly in the driver's seat of this fight as Poison and Ghogert fall one more time respectively. The numbers advantage all for Snappin here. How much can they get? At least 60% in climbing.
They also have the assert dominant, so Flame can pressure this high ground if it is a big problem. Mainly, if they just dismount the IO, dismount the tank, it's going to be hard for them to contest, but Flame doesn't dismount Poison. Now he's going to be split two different ways trying to hold this side.
Poison does end up getting cleaned up anyway, and that is first point on the board here for Snappin. And it's so easy, I think, with you know how fast we kind of move through here, talking about the matchup briefly. You know, I think Evulli is in a good spot on this roster to play a really big role. And I love seeing him pick up the Bomb King. It's one of those comfort picks that we saw consistently in the PPL. And now the only member in this game on a streak, and he's looked good so far.
He has, and I like how Triple Deeps are kind of just trying to ignore him, but in those late chaos situations, you can't really do it. Flame is having one of the hardest games I've ever seen an Ashe go through right now. His last ult got stunned by Luna and then immediately vortexed. This one gets immediately overpowered. He's having a hard time, and the fact that he's making any room is honestly impressive right now against all those flankers that are just going to tear him to shreds.
It's sort of the nightmare composition to play an Ashe into, right? Yeah. I mean, you assert dominance and immediately get overpowered or stunned out, as you pointed out. So he's found something, but it hasn't been all that consistent. A minute and 20 seconds remaining on this push. Evulli cleaned up by Ghogert, and that's a good break, I think, for the Triple Deeps lineup. Getting rid of that Bomb King, I think, is going to be so important to the composition and so important kind of to the momentum for Triple Deeps to be able to build off of. A quick thought, though. What do you sort of make of the mobility, that verticality that we so often bring up in Snappin? I mean, you could argue a few people here and there have it, a few of the champions do. They're going to have a tough time breaking through.
I agree. I mean, the Inara, if they can get over to that torch side, Inara can actually wall herself up and take some ground. Wouldn't be shocked to see WoodKnock trying to do that, but there's going to be so much pressure from above that I don't know how much they can really get away with, especially since there's going to actually be an off-tank pushing that lane with Triple Deeps able to have Wadu not have to always contest the point. There's going to be a lot of pressure that I'm not sure if Snappin are going to be able to comfortably push that lane.
There's something about a Moji that just kind of runs you down that makes me chuckle, and Ghogert has found the opening that he needs. A double kill so far. Potentially a soft triple here if he's able to get the kill on the FlameFX, but finally something rolls his way as he gets the kill onto Ghogert. 10 seconds left now on this push. 3 ultimates for Triple Deeps, 3 ultimates for Snappin, the other 2 quickly charging. First kill onto WaduHekington could be the first domino to fall in what could be a potentially successful push. Cool finds some plug shots, but not much else. He's in the carry corner and nobody else is close by. 2 down now. Snappin 5 strong, soon to be 5 ultimate strong as well. Evulli uses the touch of mobility that he has in his kit to get to the high ground, and the payload continues to move on.
Ghogert being in the back, I was kind of confused about how they pulled back from him. They could have pushed and ignored him, but they did kill him, and now, even with the respawn advantage, Snap need to get aggressive if they want to make something out of this, and spending the Illusory Rift might be a way to do it, but they might be one ult down going into the next fight, even with these trades.
Evil Eye falls, but so does Cool, and I think that's an important trade for Triple Deeps to take. IO Ultimate sends one flying, a cascade of kills for Triple Deeps, and suddenly this defense is looking great, and it certainly does. We are tied up at 1. They do have to spend some ultimates, a Cursed Arm, Headhunter, and the Be Gone, all used from Triple Deeps, but they tie up this game.
Yeah, it's so hard to push that, as we said in earlier sets, but imagine you're trying to push Serpent Beach, you get a good pick, suddenly there's a Moji in your backline because there is literally a door that says flank here immediately out of the spawn. you can't deal with a Moji that just appears back there. When she can always fight in her ideal range, you're not gonna take her down. It's almost like the Raum conundrum, right? Like, yeah, you can kill the Moji if you turn around and send resources at her, and if you do that, you're not gonna convert the payload.
3.
Well, Ghogert has carved out a few kills for himself throughout this game. Some good moments, some bad. Still has, or does have the snack time ready to go for this mid-fight. Good plug shot there from Snappin to dismount Ghogert. Delay his offense up to the side just a little bit longer. Overpower was missed there by Triple Deeps. Watch out, though. Poison on this Androxus found himself a good flank. Strix, none the wiser. Choose your target clearly. Poison punches Bones in the back of the head, grabs the first kill on this one. WoodKnock and Amos, though, they're able to turn around the damage. Suddenly a great flank. Goes searching for any sort of follow-up as Snappin found the important kills here. BallerSteve gets the kill on a FlameFX, but Ghogert falls as well. What looked like it could be a game-changing flank there gets stifled out, and Snappin right back in control.
The problem with Triple Deeps when they're trying to flank like that is, if Snappin just sees the opening, if they send their Ashe in, they can force the fight to be a 5v4 before they can really have any answer to it. So Snappin see that, they pounce, and they have point control. Wadu's gonna have to throw away his life to get them in overtime.
Well, the time is now for the rest of Triple Deeps to move in, but the health bars maybe not on their side. Good kills there from Poison and Cool are able to give themselves a little bit of space, but Snappin, they secure it. They have the health pool advantage on their side, and effective trades get Snappin their second point of this game. So now you have to turn your attention to the push, and maybe what do you change going into this one to give yourself a better chance?
It's hard to say with how tough it is to push this. I think you just need to be willing to pull back to deal with flankers immediately, but you have to keep the cart moving until then. If the cart's too far away, those flankers, again, will have that free pass straight into the backline. I think on the terms of the other side, Triple Deeps need to get more out of these headhunters. Both of them have either been immediately after losing a fight or with about 30 health, and basically just asking to die, more or less, at that point. But
right.
Snappin is doing a pretty good job, I think, getting this cart close. Now if they can just bait out a flank, they might have a good shot at converting this.
Ghogert's caught around this corner here. Magic Barrier is off of cooldown. Is going to use it just across the threshold. Suddenly, he wants to get aggressive on Evulli, but everyone else collapses around Ghogert, and down falls the Moji. Bones does get traded out for his troubles here. BallerSteve sends out to be gone. Doesn't find much. He falls as well. Triple Deeps. They're down to one final member, and that's Cool up on the high ground. But he doesn't have much of a hope in this world. He's going to get knocked back. Payload will inch its way in, but not before Ghogert. He's back to give this one another try. Respawns are close, but not close enough. Point number 3 over to Snappin.
Yeah, Snappin did exactly what I suggested they should do. They play corners, get the cart close while looking for a flank, and then bait someone in. You know they have to make a move. They have Moji and Androxus. Someone's going to have to go into the backline at some point. Catching Ghogert in the carry corner, super effective. They got him to spend his cooldowns, burn him down, and then everyone else on Triple Deeps is, oh, it's hero play time. Everyone runs in. Can't make anything happen, and Snappin did that clinically, I think.
I agree, and now Triple Deeps backs against the wall. They need to turn it around here for this mid-fight. Snappin, they've been kind of on easy street over the last few minutes of this game. Some contests earlier on, but Snappin, I felt just fine and comfortable more recently here. A lot of that kind of stems, though, from what Poison was trying to do. Ghogert plugged away to half health again. You almost wonder if Poison's going to look for a similar flank, and right off the start, it looks like a Cursed Arm is just going to plug away some damage. Canceled, down he goes for the reversal. FlameFX first to fall. Goes down at the hands of Ghogert. Evulli, though, once that Magic Barrier falls, so will Ghogert. It's a 1-for-1 trade with Snappin right back onto the point.
With this going slow, with them baiting them in, they should win this with the Inara being able to cap. Finally, WoodKnock does go down, but Poison's still in the backline, and they have so many things to worry about. This is where the triple DPS should shine, with them getting surrounded and pressured, but Flame wants to make something happen.
Well, this is the dream. If you're IO, you just drop that Fox on the point, and then everyone else can move back. FlameFX goes up, but he does not come down. He is back at base, snapping 4 members strong, 74% for triple deep. Evulli turns around the kill onto Ghogert. Not before Poison is able to get the kill, though. BallerSteve moves back to try to provide a little extra sustain. Snapping have to move to the point here, 89% for triple deep. ßones is going to look to turn around some damage, and he finds a kill onto Amos, but that's 2 kills down, make it 3. He's going to get knocked back, but at this point, FlameFX is just looking for some kills, just looking for a stagger. Triple deeps find their second point.
Man, it is hard to miss headshots when the head is the entirety of your scope, huh? Very impressive.
Yeah, that seems okay, right?
It seems all right. But he finds that flank. That's not the easiest thing to do on the Kinessa, but it's so brutal on this map. They're so big. It's such a wide map that distance makes it almost impossible to clean up on. And Triple Deeps is trying to get more and more aggressive with this, with them trying to get Ghogert on the flank, but they're just not able to do it. And now Snap trying to make something happen.
You could see the moment, though, in that mid-fight that was, like, the ideal scenario, and I think you brought it up, but it's like you can put the Fox down on the point, you can rotate around, just heal up the rest of your team while they move out and just zone. So it's those small moments that Triple Deeps were looking for that they finally started to find maybe a little bit more consistently. And I think, importantly, Kresnik, look at the ground they've already made up on this push. They already took the high ground for free. Yeah,
the distance of the map, I think, made that work. ķuhl was in a perfect position on mid to catch them as they came in the mine. He got the headshot in the mine, bled him out, and that's going to be huge because they can play so wide now. They have no backline on snapping.
Yeah, that's a bummer, and WaduHekington is going to try to be the driving force of this spear to move them forward. The wall goes up at Poison. Look at him causing a ruckus up in the sky. He goes reversal as he walks backwards. Ghogert gets the kill onto the Strix, who's back from respawning one more time. A double kill for this Moji, looking for some more damage, looking for an extra kill. That's a delayed 3 now for Ghogert. This payload is going to roll in, and this game is tied.
This is the ideal position for a Moji, I think. Once you get to this point, you're right next to the spawn. They have to push so far out to kill you, and they have a Kinessa all the way up top. Plus, all that sustain that Ghogert has with that build he's running, you just can't take him down. You have to worry about other things, and you just can't. Even with 13 deaths on his side, he still manages to put himself in the right positions in those situations. And I hope this has to be the mine kill, right?
Yeah, he gets the shot, and then one last tick. Ugh.
I
mean, he thought he was going to get
that,
like... Yeah, no, you think in that moment you're going to be able to trade out a headshot or something, and instead the mine gets the last tick of damage, and that was kind of the opening kill that everything kind of tumbled on from for Triple Deep. So a small moment that kind of played off big here, but we got one more 0.7 Kresnik, 5 ultimate strong for Triple Deeps. Call it 5 for snapping here as well. Assert dominance up down from FlameFX this time, but Evulli rounds the corner just a little bit too soon. Snipers, they're trading out 1 for 1. It's WaduHekington who falls, and Evulli for snapping does the same. Gogert's found himself a flank and found 1 kill now onto WoodKnock, who is piloting that Inara, but he's going to have to wait 5 or so more seconds to be able to do that again. Snap time from point blank range. You don't miss those. And this Moji's putting her stamp on the final fight.
Actually getting a kill with that on Serpent Beach I think is crazy, because the map is so big, so he takes the guaranteed one. Because the assert dominance is already over and spent, and now Evulli, this is a huge stagger. This might make it impossible for Snappin to actually have a good fight.
Well, 72% and climbing from Triple Deeps. Only the King Bomb ready to go, but an overpower and to be gone. 2 massive peel tools just to delay them moving forward. That's WoodKnock who moves in. He takes too much damage. Down he goes, Triple Deeps. They're 5 members strong, rolling through game number 1. Snapping, that's got to be frustrating. You take 3 straight points, and then you lose 3 straight. You end up losing game number 1.
I think it just shows the kind of the late game dominance of a triple DPS composition. Right?
Yeah.
Caught record don't really mean as much. It's more impactful for them, and I think the impact that the tanks had just went down and down over the game, especially with Flame running that all sustained composition, Brawl 5, 600 healing on Kinetic Burst. Just not doing the same thing as the game ended.
Well, I guess part of the question that we had, and it's where's Moji kind of fall off, we figured Serpent Beach maybe one of those places. I don't know though, Chris. I mean, 13 and 14, I mean, that Ghogert made massive plays down the stretch there to help them get the win. But at 13 and 14, I don't know if you call that like a great game. I think Poison had a much better slash line. ķuhl doing 130,000 damage, good for 60,000 higher than anyone else on Snappin'. All 3 of the DPSs for Triple Deep seem to hit their stride at the right time.
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, the Moji, even with that, did a decent amount of damage. Like, we were talking about Poison being kind of a absolute huge threat for Snappin', but Ghogert had more damage. Ghogert, the Moji ended up having more damage than him, so doing the job of the tank shred, I think, was a pretty big deal. They just made it so they couldn't focus other things. He was basically the off-tank. Off-tank Moji taking 80,000 damage that would have gone into Wadu. Taking that pressure off made things a lot easier.
I think it was a big 1-2 punch. Of course, Kuhl was setting up a lot of kills, but it was like Ghogert would get a double kill, and then Poison right there at the end, that last replay you saw, would find another double kill there for himself. Did you sense kind of a change in that game, though? I mean, it really felt like Snappin' were in control throughout the first half, even 3/4 of that game, and they just kind of stumbled down the stretch.
Triple Deeps just stopped doing that deep flank. They just played a little bit tighter and made it so the aggression didn't get the same reward that it would have otherwise.
Well, that's a change in play style that gets them the win on map number 1. Map number 2, let's see what we have in store in our third and final set of the day. Ice Mines maybe to slow things down here a little bit after Triple Deeps takes Serpent Beach 4-3. Ice Mines up next here. Terminus, I think, jumps out to me here for good reason. We've seen him a lot. I think Ice Mines is another good spot for him. I wonder now, specifically because it's Evulli, this is a map where you maybe consider banning out that Bomb King up against Snappin'.
I would say so. I think that would be a place to do it, unless they want it themselves, depending on whether they have first or second pick. I think if you get Terminus out of the picture, it could even be first pickable. It does a lot on this map. Maybe less effective of an ultimate, but just having that control over that inner barn area was huge. Honestly, after that game earlier, though, I'm looking at Grok. I want to see these teams pick up the newly reworked Grok, use it, see who has more experience with it. I think it would be a good fit on either of their lineups.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if that Grok kind of moves himself forward or over, I guess, a lateral move maybe into the NA meta. It's going to be Khan, Genos, Furia, and Raum, though, banned out, something that we've similarly seen in map number 1. Inara locked in first overall from Snappin'. You want to be on the point early, you want to stay there often, and Snappin', they've got that with the Inara.
Come here,
I don't know if I like the Inara first pick, though. Against this team specifically, I mean, what are they going to do tank-wise that you're really limiting from them? And now you're giving them their ideal support, who you probably wouldn't be picking anyway, and the Bomb King, who you could have utilized. No matter what, they're going to want a solo tank. I don't even know if Inara is the best one for what Triple Deeps want to do.
Talk to me now, though, about the Dredge. I think that this is something that has been hinted at, right? I mean, we saw a Dredge, I think it was on like Frog Eye, like a one-off Dredge pick. Dredge had some changes, but people are still liking him here on Ice Mines.
Yeah, and I think he's always been okay. I think he's kind of underrated, actually. The sustain from Hurl Dredge is pretty huge. Triple Deeps, this is, I think, might be their new MO, honestly, with Barrack being changed, Genos getting banned against them a lot, even though they banned it themselves this time. Moji off tank, IO to have another tank. Even with all this damage they're getting, they're playing these secondary tank characters and having other ways to soak up damage.
Triple Deeps, they don't ban the Bomb King, they take him for themselves this time. It is the Moji and the Viktor to round out the remaining 2 DPSs for them. Terminus is going to be solo tank for them this time for WaduHekington. IO, they're going to stick with her. I mean, it worked out for him on Serpent Beach. Do you imagine similar success for an IO here on Ice Mines?
I think so. I think having that point contest is going to be really huge, especially considering if I'm Wadu right now, I'm drooling. I am so excited to play into this Dredge. Dredge into Terminus might be one of the worst matchups ever in the history of Paladins. You just get so many free charges all the time.
I'll take it as Ice Mines is about to kick off here. You get a triple DPS composition rounded out by a Bomb King and a Moji on the other side. Snappin', they pick up a Dredge for themselves. I haven't seen Evulli play that Dredge really all that often, or maybe even ever, Kresnik, as we make our way into the game. What expectations do you have for Evulli on this Dredge this game?
Well, I will say that Dredge is a character that I think, if he can hit good bounce shots, that's what I'd expect to see from him with all that blaster kind of experience that he has, but a really good Dredge, his experience will show through on how well he uses the teleport, I think. That's one of the hardest things to have consistently down, and you need to play Dredge to really know what to do with it. Either way, he has to find a way to avoid that Siphon, and I guess going right over it's one way as Ghogert just melts as soon as he walks into the barn.
Yeah, talk about the one tap onto Ghogert. He rounds the corner and then immediately dies. You blink and you miss that one. Evulli, though, gets traded out, so Triple Deeps, actually, despite losing the first blood in this game, have fought back very, very well here. Only a couple members of Snappin left alive on the other side of that wall, and BallerSteve's just going to be able to drop the Fox onto the point as they continue to zone. Ice Mines is oppressive enough, losing the first couple of members, even more so now when you have an IO that can just back off as the rest of your team moves forward to zone. The full 5-strong zone is in the cards here, but a retake attempt here for Snappin.
And you can see this. Look at the pressure that WaduH's putting on while the point is getting capped. This is something that this team was never really able to do before, but the introduction of IO into their style is incredible so far for them. It's letting them do so many different things, and now backing off without giving up a single person. This is exactly what you want to do for Ice. They can re-heal and take the next fight on their own terms.
I think the patience is so smart here from Triple Deeps. You got 81%. All you need is like one more kill to really break this one open, but Ghogert a little bit too far forward. FlameFX finds the kill onto him, and Wadu falls as well. Evulli and FlameFX combining for a couple of kills on this retake attempt from Snap, and Triple Deep stalled out at 93%, so still a good chance. Barrage is going to drop down from Cool, and that sets up a kill onto FlameFX. So Snappin only able to get 12% in all of that time of a 5 versus 3 advantage. Triple Deep still very much in this mid-fight.
They have great control over here on the side because no one, the off-tank, doesn't want to pressure this left side. So they get all this space, and they're forcing out the Whirlwind too, but they don't even have point control. They're going to have to take a forced fight.
99% overtime ticking down. First couple of kills for Snappin. Cool, he gets blasted forward there as the flank from FlameFX caught him a bit off guard, but he doesn't end up even falling. So you get the point, but you also get swept if you're Snappin. You lose, you're down 0-1, but now you're all back in base and respawning. Triple Deeps is going to be able to take a lot of ground here.
Yeah, and I think maybe Snappin just have to rotate their Dredge on the next mid-fight. Having him fight Barton, yes, that's... If you were looking at this game in an ideal situation, yeah, that's where your term should be, but your Dredge should be, excuse me, but not into a term. They're trying to make some space now, but the peel, it's so good from Wadu when Poison lives through all that pressure.
That's brilliant. Triple Deeps are going to keep this one rolling as BallerSteve is going to find some space to keep the rest of his team topped off. Fox in the back, ushering that cart forward. And this is the opposite of what you want to see on Ice Mines. I mean, you go to this map potentially to slow things down, but you're already getting pushed back into your base at 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the push. Something's got to change here for Snappin', and it's got to change quick, Krisnik.
Yeah, I want to see what they want to do. They need to take some space. They need to deny some zone, but if they go forward, they're going to be in a huge firing range with these DPSs, and they have to do something because look at all the space Cool has.
Oh, that's the Vine just to get the Grover out of range, but FlameFX does end up falling off to the side anyway. BallerSteve up and over he goes. Evulli falls. Cool finally gets cleaned up. Gonna give a little bit of extra healing to Poison here as the cart continues to move forward. 5 seconds remaining, but a double kill from Bones is gonna keep snapping in on this defensive end. But the time is, I think, what you really need to look at here. 50 seconds remaining. Plenty of time for Triple Deeps to back off and push again.
You saw a little bit of the weakness of the IO there, too. Everyone was super low. Imagine if they had a Grover there. One click and everybody's good and ready to fight again. The IO was trying to keep everyone alive. Everyone was trying to take fights all the time, and that's why Triple DPS, this team, Triple Deeps, was playing so much Genos at the start. You know, you want to have that pocket on everybody so they can all constantly take fights, put on pressure. That's what makes your comp work. IO, not really the best at supporting your team through that kind of pressure.
That was a beautiful shot from the Strix to set up a kill onto Ghogert, as the rest of Snappin' was able to capitalize and move forward. 4 ultimates ready to go here for Triple Deeps, just holding the angle there. Is almost 10 seconds left. I don't imagine anyone from Triple Deeps is going to freely walk around that corner. Good quick reactions there just to plug away a little bit of damage. Overtime is going to begin here. Kresnik losing Poison that early on does not bode well for Triple Deeps, and now Wadu, their sole tank, is gone. As time moves on, this is moving ever so closer towards what looks like a successful defense here from Snappin'. And we do reach that point, and this game is tied.
I think Triple Deeps played that smart at the very end. They backed off so they wouldn't give too much ult charge to whoever might not have it on the other side. But still, let Viktor poke a little bit just to get a little bit more cool. Gets his ultimate. Will have it more or less by the time he gets there. And I gotta say, I think Bones putting on a solid performance so far with that damage. We can see in this replay the ability to have that CC from deep roots while also outputting damage and keeping your whole team always healed on a map where they're all going to be in that range. It's a great pick. We can see why, even when Grover wasn't really being played quite as much, he was still getting picked on ice, just like Terminus.
And I think we've propped up Bones so many times over the last few weeks. I mean, this guy is you know, a name that a lot of people probably wouldn't have been familiar with moving into the PPC, but I honestly think Kresnik gets a name that a lot of people need to start to learn.
They should for sure. Bones, like I said before, he's been a prominent support in casuals and ranked for forever, and glad to see him getting a chance here. And look at this super passive start from Triple Deeps. I think they want to just bait them in. No ultimates being traded, but how does Evulli die to the Terminus? He's way too close in that barn side.
Is FlameFX able to get the kill onto ßones is the next question, and yes, he is. Ghogert, though, trades out onto the Ashes. WoodKnock is going to be pushed back here by Terminus. Bones, one more time, finds himself a kill. Seismic Crash drops down onto Ghogert. Magic Barrier up in time, so that one gets shrugged off here by Triple Deeps, who still have all ultimates except for the snack time ready to go. Kraken is ready for snapping on the other side. And for the moment, they're just going to hang back. You can see the presence, though, that Evulli brings. They're really respecting that corner.
What I did see was him just give Wadu full charges and eat all of it, going down to 800 health. He's lucky he's getting healed right now with all those teleporters. But he's getting forced to the point, though, and that might be a really bad reanimate if he gets pressured here.
Poison drops down, reanimate, ready to go as you pointed out. Does he choose to use it? Yes, he does, but right into the Kraken. Ghogert comes back and gets the kill on a FlameFX. WoodKnock, Bones, they all combine. Triple Deeps down to 0 members. And that'll just about do it here on Ice Mines. A great fight back from Snappin' to take the lead.
I think a tough part of this is that Triple Deeps have to keep control of that far right side. They have to keep that up. If they lose it and almost gets to walk along that stage and spam down at them, it's going to be so hard for them to play this defensive strategy. So is that too much pressure on ßones? He's handling it so far, but who knows how things will change as the game goes on and Snappin' starts realizing what they need to do.
And this is sort of that area. I mean, obviously in the mid-fight, I think Amos has had a good job finding some good plug damage. But around kind of this push, where do you see maybe that Strix positioning, and what kind of damage is he looking for? Obviously, any damage onto a squishy is going to help set up a kill for his team.
Yeah, he wants to just hit whoever he can, honestly. Strix is trying to take whatever angles he can. Look at that around the corner pressure from Poison and Viktor, pushing down the Inara, and that's going to make things a lot easier for them. If they can take that top left and pressure above them and spam down, it could be a good chance for them to apply pressure to the backline, but Moji, in this area, definitely going to be struggling a little bit. That sniper sight line making it a lot harder for them to contest, but spawns are so close, it doesn't really matter even that much.
This is a dream spot for ßones. He can just kind of tiptoe in and out of that spawn window, mitigate the damage as he needs to. Snappin' uses that whirlwind. Wadu drops first with Evulli, soon to follow. Triple Deeps in a great spot here to kind of delay out this defense. That payload is so close. It's almost a mirror of what we saw on the other side, where Triple Deeps is now defending with a minute left. A nice double kill from ßones to stall out this push. That payload does not have far to go. Make it 3.
I'm not even sure if the explosion was what killed Almost there. I think he just got a concussion from the frag grenade flying in. Now they're going to be able to stabilize, but I think a little bit of a miscommunication. Maybe they didn't know how much damage ßones was doing, but Io's ultimate, Be Gone, is spent. Not going to be usable for the next mid-fight, but I think it's going to be hard for them to even find a chance unless they really make that super passive strategy work. No one's going to be pushing in hard enough to them. Finally, though, Triple Deeps do get into a position they can use their comp strengths. They have Viktor in spawn, Bomb King locking down that choke solo, and Moji actually being able to fight in close range. But with this Terminus going back, that's so much space made from one kinetic burst.
So Shatterfall right back in. FlameFX dancing between his shield there to mitigate as much damage as possible. That's a full burst there from the Siphon. FlameFX deleted. 3 seconds remaining. Snapping down to 4 members left. Triple Deeps, another kill from WaduHekington. Evulli trades back 1 onto Poison, but this Terminus has found these kills right when his team needs it. 3 in this engagement now as Ghogert seems to finish this one off, and this game is tied.
An ultimate advantage to Snappin' coming in here, but it's something that Steve should be able to pick up pretty quickly. Still, it's hard to see where the execute is going to lie. I think it has to be Term pressuring into a King Bomb, but Snappin', I feel like ultimate-wise, they're so reliant on that assert dominance. Seismic Crash is okay, but it's not going to be as much as the game goes on. Being invincible and ideally hope you don't get hit by the Moji ultimate, hope you don't get knocked out by Be Gone. There's so many ways that it can go wrong. I think as this game goes further, if that assert dominance isn't hitting, I'm not sure how well Snap are going to do it at maintaining map control.
And I think, you know, as we get a good look at the items here, Obviously, a lot of bulldozer prioritized for Snap and get rid of that Fox as quickly as they can. What do you make of Evulli going into the Deft Hands 3? I mean, I think I've seen two different mindsets when you're looking at the Dredge, and that's certainly one of them.
You have to for Scuttle. It's actually a necessity if you want to maximize your damage. So him rushing that, I think, isn't too surprising. What is surprising is how far they're getting pressured back, and every ultimate's crashing into each other, Dave.
Yeah, every ultimate suddenly comes out at once, but it's Poison who's found the most effect. Oh, one shot away from what would have been a triple kill. But he opens up the door, slams open the door almost for the rest of Triple Deeps just to roll on through. Snapping, they are wiped. They still have a flashbang and a Kraken maybe for the retake, but what a fight from Poison, what a fight from Wadu. Triple Deeps are in control.
God, I wish I could have given you more warning there, Dave, but I don't think there's any way I could have possibly known that every ult in the game was about to hit each other in one little doorway. And again, I said Triple Deeps, I think they have better ultimates. They have more difference makers, and it was what made the difference there. It let them immediately end that, and I think this Inara pick, it's just getting too pressured by this Terminus. The fact that he can take that space initially, and then they can hold it, it's just so hard for WoodKnock to lock anything down.
Well, he has done such a good job, Wadu being he. Look at it, fully charged power siphons almost every single time. He's able to mitigate so much of the damage that Snap and have. Triple Deeps moving forward, but getting ķuhl killed off is not going to be helpful to their offensive push potential. I think that this is a moment where you maybe back off, unless you're able to find a pick. With 1 minute and 50 seconds left, I guess you just make up as much ground as you can and wait to be fully reinforced.
Just Poison, I think, is enough to lock down that upper choke point, so they can just keep this card moving as long as Loon is on it. No real risk to any of them, but they're taking so much damage from this Dredge spam, and Io can't heal everybody. Poison goes down.
And Poison has had such an impact on these last few fights. That's an important first pick here from Snappin', who have 3 ultimates on their side. Triple Deeps have 4, soon to be 5, once that snack time becomes available again. 1 minute and 20 seconds left, and this could end this game if Triple Deeps, or this would end this game if Triple Deeps are able to push this one through, and push us to a potentially game-deciding map number 3, set-deciding if Triple Deeps are able to roll this one in. 4 ultimates ready to go. How do they use them, then, is the next big question, but right where you saw ķuhl last time on defense, this is where Amos wants to be free and clear on the Strix.
I think they want to get a pick first, but I thought they were going to wait, but they're actually initiating with King Bomb, but it goes right into the Kraken. It's still got a stun, but I think WoodKnock's going to walk away.
But WoodKnock immediately killed off. He turned around and took too much damage from Wadu. On his escape, now FlameFX back behind his shield one more time. Big kill there onto WaduHekington. Reanimate is up, though, for that Terminus. They want to end this game right now. Flashbang drops down. Connects onto a couple. The reinforcements are here from Snappin', though. Triple Deep suddenly numbers not on their side. Power Siphon only will block so much as WoodKnock gets the kill. This seems like a round-ending fight, but Kresnik, there's still 15 seconds left.
With the potential to contest with all those heals, it could still happen. Magic Barrier on the point. The tanks are so low, she has to assert dominance, but the Moji ult could counter it. She doesn't even get to use the assert dominance.
There is a Be Gone, maybe for some last-minute peel. Back they go. What a play from Triple Deeps. They fight back in despite a numbers disadvantage. And they take Ice Mines by the skin of their teeth, and they go up 2-0 here in this set.
Flame and Ghogert were playing a game of chicken. And Flame lost.
Yeah.
He was holding on to it for so long, and then at that very last moment, he's like, I'm gonna, nope. Couldn't pull it off because he was gonna get immediately hit with that Moji ultimate.
That's tough, man. I mean, this is, you go to Ice Mines and you hope that it maybe slows down this set, given how map number 1 went. But Triple Deeps, that, you know, a little bit of a stagger off the go there, but then blow Snapping out of the water down the final few points. Wadu, I think, had a massive game on this Terminus. Surely a big difference maker.
Yeah, and I think always having full Siphon because of the Dredge on the other side is probably a pretty big part of it for sure. And this new strategy that Triple Deeps are pulling out, this off-tank Moji plus Io, letting them basically have, it's a combination of triple tank and triple DPS basically all the time. And I think teams might have to start target banning some of these pieces because it's clearly always coming together.
And obviously this Io has worked out. I mean, you talk about some of the intricacies of this Triple Deeps composition. So much of the question, as I brought it up in game number 1, is, one, is your team a team that's comfortable playing with an Io? Because we've seen examples of both yes and no. Io is certainly not just a plug and play in any team. You have to know how to play around her. But it seems like Triple Deeps have it figured out. It seems like this is a team that realizes IO does enough for their desired team comps that they can just go to her. So you almost wonder if, as this PPC split continues, teams start to recognize that and have to overemphasize either practice or in picks and bans the IO.
Yeah, and one thing it shows to me about Triple Deeps is that they're a team that's not afraid to test things out. Because I really don't know how many people were testing out the IO, testing out the Moji, but they were willing to pull it out, and it's all clicking.
Well, through 2 games, Triple Deeps have a 2-0 lead over Snap, and we're going to take a quick break so everyone can take a deep breath, get your snacks, because we got Game 3 right after this. Welcome back, and thanks for sticking around for what could be the 3rd and final game here in our 3rd and final set of the day. You got Triple Deeps with a 2-0 lead over Snappin'. You got Dolson and Kresnik still with me to talk me through this one. What needs to change? I mean, is this a mentality thing, do you think, for Snappin'? I mean, the Triple Deeps, it seems transparent on paper, and I sort of jokingly said it when we first had Triple Deeps come into the PPC. Like, you know they're going to play Triple DPS every time. Teams still struggle with it.
I think it might just have to be banning out the IO. I think that's the support that can't do both jobs, right? Like, there's no other support that can fill what IO does. If you ban Moji, then they can play Buck in that situation as that off-tank flanker. But if you just get rid of the IO, just take out one of your regular bans, get ready for whatever's going to get through, that could be a way to do it, because that free point capture, I think, has been a huge deal of why Triple Deeps have been able to put on so much pressure.
Yep. I think I agree. I think the IO has been massively impactful for the Triple Deeps compositions. I bring up map number 3. Let's see what we've got on the table for us here. Splitstone Quarry. I mean, if Ice Mines didn't slow you down, Kresnik, maybe Splitstone Quarry will.
Yeah, but Splitstone, it's a map that actually I think is going to be pretty okay for Moji. Just saying, if it does happen to come out again. I do hope they don't ban that, though, because I think there's too many replacements for it. Moji inside that quarry, though, is going to make it hell for WoodKnock to do anything on the point.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's been like IO and Moji, 2 champions that I guess you have to look out for in picks and bans for game number 3. Snappin', they've got a lot to consider here, Kresnik. I mean, a lot has worked for Triple Deeps. You know, their god pools seemingly are pretty big, in that they kind of feel free and clear to plug and play a lot of different champions into those 3 DPS roles. WaduHekington, I think, has done a good job. He played the Khan, played the Terminus, both looked good. Snap and React, though, they ban out the Genos. I still think that's smart. That's something that Triple DPS has felt comfortable with. Taking away the Androxus as well. But now you still have to wonder if that IO is going to be the go-to support and what Triple Deeps look for.
I think it will be. Raum does get through, though, because they decide to ban the Androxus and the Khan instead. That's going to be solid for Snappin', but I think Triple Deeps might just end up playing something super mobile, just run away. Androxus would be ideal for that, but there's enough characters between Maeve, Buck, even Moji to be able to kite around, and Moji, that first lock in for them.
Yeah, you speak her into existence there, Kresnik, as Triple Deeps lock her in. And another Terminus here for WaduHekington. So Triple Deeps have gotten, I would say, champions that they're looking for with their first 2 picks here. Cassie locked in for the first time in the NAPPC. Found some success in Brazil in our previous set, though I don't know if anything wouldn't have been successful for Mandrakes in that set. Grover locked in here as well. Snappin', they've got the makings of a first 3 picks that are actually pretty good.
I will bring an end.
Yeah, I agree, but I think Triple Deeps have a decent answer to that ROM with that Terminus. If you shoot it at Inara, you're always going to be getting your soul charges, but that Terminus can turn off that sustain that you're going to be getting. Plus, Triple Deeps end up with Kinessa, super mobile up top, able to pressure with the healing and damage from the Furia. Even though the IO is gone, I still think Triple Deeps have a pretty solid draft for themselves.
Come here, grumpy boy!
It's Inara and Bomb King to round out the 5 here for Snap and get Evulli back onto something that is comfortable for him. I think Triple Deeps realizing that Evie is maybe really where Evulli wants to go on this map. We're going to ban her out. Pick up the Bomb King, though, for Snappin'. So a good composition there for them, but it's Maeve to round out the Triple Deeps composition. Kresnik, this could be it. 3rd and final game. Do you think Triple Deeps have a composition that gets it done?
I think they do. I think they have a good comp for this map. They have solid quarry control. That Maeve and Kinessa are going to be playing all over the outside. I think Evulli might struggle to find a respite from the pressure.
Well, Snappin' took us to Ice Mines in map number 2 to try to slow things down. We're going to Splitstone Quarry here in map number 3. Snappin' maybe relying on some of that defense. And Timbermill maybe is where we're actually going to end up playing. But what it looks like to me, Kresnik, is that it will be Splitstone Quarry. Maeve, though, I think that on this map, she has a good bit of mobility and can really make Evulli uncomfortable. I think Amos is going to be a little bit uncomfortable as well. I think Poison has a big role to play here in this game.
Yeah, I agree. And Poison, I think, kind of having to be on that Maeve with the comfort champions for rKuhl and Ghogert on the other side. And he's going to have to get a lot of work done, I think, on that far right side. And almost is going to be sitting on that high ground just looking to slow him down. They don't want him to be wreaking as much havoc as he did on Serpent Beach, but with them all playing inside, I think they're maybe focusing too much on where they thought Ghogert was going to be, but reaching for that back line could be good. Take down that Kinessa, and maybe you can control the whole map.
They were both still mounted up, just now being identified, and it's Bones who's found the first kill on this one. WaduHekington drops, Ghogert follows there shortly after. Evulli has found himself up onto the high ground, so 3 members left from Triple Deeps. That's an aggressive Poppy Bomb forward and right to a perfect spot. Evulli has found plenty of damage, helped a kill for FlameFX and got a kill of his own. Snappin', they're in control of this mid-fight with 75%.
Plus, yeah, WoodKnock on lock on the point the whole time, getting rotated around. I think that was a perfect start for Snappin', and that point control forces Poison to just die immediately. And after that, like I said, locking down that Kinessa opened things up so much. No matter how much pressure Ghogert made, it wasn't gonna open up anything. That Kinessa was constantly rotating and never had a chance to lock down an angle.
And you could see the thought there. They sent, Poison around with Ghogert to try to find a flank, but sort of immediately noted out, and there was nobody there for them to collapse on. Maybe they were hoping somebody was going to be right on the other end of that lava side wall. That being said, this is what you want to see if you're Triple Deeps. Immediately turning around, finding some big kills, and getting Snappin' on the back foot.
Snappin' gonna have to rethink how they push this, because now Ghogert is gonna be holding in a close angle, I think, but actually Flame just sprinted behind them, and everybody's gonna go back. This is the impact of that Raum. The whole team has to go deal with him, or they're gonna get people traded out.
And traded out now is FlameFX. That's a snap time for Ghogert that connects. So with a minute and a half left, this is maybe what you expect on Splitstone Quarry with Triple Deeps really holding firm on this defensive side. Another map, I think we talk about high ground so much on Serpent Beach. Splitstone Quarry, much the same as another map where once you're pushing up kind of from this lower quarry side, from the point, it's hard to dislodge whoever it is, whatever team it is that's got that high ground. But that being said, Snappin' have found some openings.
With the attempt at the flank early from Poison, but the peel from Bones saving him, that was kind of what turned it, because they just were able to take that 5v4 immediately after, and they're still trying to take kind of poor fights, and they're just going to be bleeding out until they get to this last corner. Still good for the defense, but definitely not as good as that first choke point. Giving that up might be something that Triple Deeps come to regret, but it looks like they already have someone on the flank to watch that mine side. I
think that this is a good, maybe confidence-building pick for FlameFX. Not that he's had a bad few games, but I think giving him the Raum, one that he can really just run at you, I think is a good pivot here for Snappin', a high-impact champion that has done just that so far through 4 or so minutes of this game. 1 kill, now 2 on the board for Snappin', 4 ultimates ready to go, but Cool has found himself the good angle. Down underneath goes FlameFX, who drops the ultimate, but that one's just sort of shrugged off from Wadu now. Evulli finds the kill, and that's the reanimate used to try to buy this defense. Back behind the pillar goes the Moji. FlameFX, though, he is causing such a disruption in the backline, and nobody's in range from Triple Deeps. That one rolls on in.
Yeah, I think Wadu got poppied off, or straight up, I'm assuming, and they landed back on, wasn't able to contest. Tough, too, after committing the reanimate for that, but still a couple ultimates up on their side, just trading reanimate for Raum's ultimate on the other side. I want to see how they want to execute this, because they don't really have great ults to get aggressive on the side of Triple Deeps. I mean, Inflame, sure, but they're going to have to make a move off of that Inflame Midnight with relatively low mobility outside of Poison. Snappin', I feel like, just have so many answers with Cassie Scout, Seismic Crash, maybe once Razil's online in the late game, but until then, it's going to be really hard for Triple Deeps to actually break through the Snappin' line.
Triple Deeps, after they've rolled through the first couple of games here in this set, have not had much going for them on Splitstone Quarry just as of yet. A small moment maybe on the start of that defense where they really had Snappin' pushed back. The Triple Deeps have been in control. Ghogert looked for a similar flank and has actually found his way all the way back around. Imost and Grover know where he's at, though. First kill, Evulli, King Bomb onto WaduHekington. That's good for the first blood in this re-engagement. Snapping right back onto the point. And Ghogert, he's done a complete roundabout. He looked for the flank, found an angle, but is forced right back around to the rest of his team. Kresnik with 66%. Snapping are looking good.
I was going to say that Snapping thought they had all the answers, but Flame just runs right into Moji's mouth waiting for him and gets taken down. And Rowan wasted too. So many ults that just aren't finding their mark on the side of Snapping.
Evil Eyes right back in on this fight. A few more daggers from Poison is maybe exactly what Triple Deeps needs here. WoodKnock cleans up the Maeve. Onto the point goes that Furia. FlameFX is getting ready to rip on through. WoodKnock, a nice couple of kills here for his team. Ghogert, you're going to get locked in this corner. Snapping, they take the lead up 3-0.
You can see the difference between having IO and not having IO. Look at this point cap, always so high for Snapping. Triple Deeps don't have an answer. They can't throw their tank on point. He has to be willing to peel for the rest of the roster. You can see that weakness already. Even though Furia is so good, supposedly, for this composition, I just think it's not putting on the same pressure that the IO was just by existing.
I agree. A big difference in maybe the confidence that Triple Deeps has going into some of these fights. And this one's getting messy real quick as Snappin' have already found a couple more kills, pushed all the way back into their base as FlameFX. You can feel that confidence starting to roll through now. Teleport no good from rKuhl. Immediately FlameFX, though, does get traded out, but the payload has been moving forward this entire time. One final chance on the defense.
A 1-for-1 trade on defense against a Raum, I think, is almost ideal. You know he didn't take away too much of your time. Able to have the better spawn, so you're not too worried about it. And for Triple Deep's sake, they need to retake this high ground to just force them into bad situations. Headhunter, every single Headhunter used by rKuhl has just not been finding what it needs to. He uses it there, gets rid of Flame's soul armor, and immediately dies. I think both teams need to be planning their ultimates out just a little bit better to make bigger differences in the fights that matter.
And you can feel that difference not only in the IO, but I like the way you kind of bring up rKuhl on this Kinessa. So much of what's been working for Triple Deeps and their compositions has been Moji paired with one of the snipers for a lot of extra damage, and then some follow-up just to finish off a few of those kills. And they just kind of haven't had that same effect that they've been looking for. They'll need it here on the defensive side as Snappin' move themselves just a little bit closer. That's 2 down. Ghogert and Poison, the most recent to fall. Inflame for Triple Deeps to try to save this game, but that's an aggressive bomb on forward from Evulli, and he's able to assist the kill. rKuhl in the back line. This is where you want your Kinessa plugging away some damage. A double kill now for that Kinessa before Evulli is able to trade out one. Reanimate is there. Does not use it here this time, so back to base. 5 seconds left on his respawn, and it looks like for the moment Triple Deeps have weathered this storm.
I was about to start talking about how good I thought the answer to Triple Deep's aggression from Snappin' was, but with the Wadu living so long on that right side, plus Moji coming back, all those cooldowns that you can't do anything about, you just have to wait. They couldn't burn through. They thought they had the advantage in the pick on Poison, but Triple Deeps just managed to force the fight long enough with all those delaying cooldowns.
Well, there's finally a point on the board here for Triple Deeps. Big play there from rKuhl, grabbing a few kills and plenty of damage. I mean, damage is not something they're lacking here. The top 2 in the game are 2 out of 3 of their DPSs. But I think the front lines from Snappin' have made a big difference in this one, I think. FlameFX has had a much better game on that Raum from what we've seen throughout some of the other games in this set.
They just have no way to equalize the point pressure. WoodKnock is on the objective, and instead of ignoring him, they have to deal with him. They're not able to execute fast enough, or they can just not care. Even with all their damage, it's just getting countered by the Grover. Him being able to constantly heal everybody on his team and then burst them and get resets because he's hitting every single crippling throw. There's just really no response for Triple Deeps. I think maybe they just have to look at WoodKnock a little bit harder, and you can tell already with Wadu starting his fight on the point.
Well, no room for error here if you're Triple Deeps. Snappin', they have to win this one to stay in this set. Triple Deeps are going to look to fight back, and they've done that in spades. Imost and Evulli, first 2 to go down. WoodKnock forced back off the point. Just going to mitigate a little bit of the time that Triple Deeps is able to grab. They have fast cap on their side, so this one will climb up very quickly, but a brilliant start for the red team.
Yeah, maybe a little over-aggression from Snappin'. They literally just walked into a choke of doom and had nothing else they could do. They do get a free touch because of Flame, but not finding Poison with the ultimate, but he's going to trade out on point.
That's big. He turns around, finds the execute, but FlameFX and Evulli, they both fall here, snapping. They're fighting back in at a 3 versus 4 disadvantage, and that is good for the second point this game from Triple Deeps. Sure, you have fast cap on your side, but you got on that point early. Triple Deeps would not be dislodged, and they have a chance to tie.
I think it was a solid start from them. I like the change in prioritization. rKuhl is committed to that hold, I'll say that, but it ends up working out because they go to save him, and it's just too late, even with Flame recommitting.
I think Evulli has a big role to play here to double kill, sees to it that his team will be somewhat comfortable on defense. Bones is going to self-sustain himself just enough to stay in the fight, but Ghogert has found enough damage to get rid of Imost. This is where Snappin will want to put themselves right here on this high ground, where Triple Deeps have not found much success on their defensive side. This is where Snappin can really make their stand. With a minute and a half left, though, Kresnik, Triple Deeps, you're kind of in that awkward territory, especially going into what either could be a 0.6 mid-fight or a 0.7 mid-fight. You gotta decide what ultimates you want to use, and then Flame gets used first, but immediately traded out for a double kill from Evulli.
Yeah, and I love how they're playing Term right now, even though it's not ended up working out. They're playing it to make so much room and just try to win before that Siphon runs out. All those Siphon regeneration cards are buying so much time for Wadu. And when they're just in that 5v5 stalemate, he's staring at the Raum, ensuring that there's no way he can get any soul fragments. Buying so much time, it makes the fight so scrappy, and they can just get all their respawns and take refights just like this.
Wow, Poison gets out alive, too. You get the sneaky kill onto Evulli. Everyone turns their attention towards you from Snappin'. Now you get the kill onto Bones. This is a master class on the Maeve from Poison, and it's going to keep Triple Deeps in the conversation for maybe tying up this game. Payload moving in. FlameFX falls as well. They're just getting so heavily staggered out here, Kresnik. This is going to be a tough one to defend.
I think Snappin' has to be counting their prayers that it was so far away when these staggers happen. If it was any closer, this game could be over. Look at Ghogert, though, stuck on the side. I think he might get pushed out, and giving up this ground is huge, because now BK has a free angle to pressure above the cart and not give the tank any breathing.
Evulli is trying to help his team out with Poison in the backline, who's still somehow alive. Cool. Fall to the hands of the BK. Finally, Bones gets the kill. Poppy Bomb backwards from Evulli, but look at that healing from Bones to keep him in this fight. 5 seconds left. Triple Deeps, they're getting swept here, and it looks like it is going to be a 6-point mid-fight. Triple Deeps looking to tie, and Snappin' looking to win.
And ultimates up for everybody on both sides. Again, I want to see a good headhunter coming out from rKuhl, but rKuhl and Ghogert are dominating the damage charts right now. Even with how long this game has been, I don't think Evulli is past 70k damage, which is tough for a Bomb King on a map where you feel like you're going to be fighting at a decent advantage all the time. So many doors, so many choke points, but just unable to pin down anyone to shoot because they're just so slippery on the other side.
Well, in Poison at 8, 10, and 11, we get a little bit of a highlight there from him. I agree. I think a lot of it has been, you know, this Kinessa finding good headhunters. I think Poison as well. I think we've seen both sides of the coin where the flank has looked good and worked out for his team, and other times where he immediately dies and the rest of the fight just kind of slips away.
They have to play off that, I think, if they want to make anything happen. And they're actually protecting rKuhl this time, but look at the patience from almost up top, waiting for him to show himself before they commit. Now super slow on Snappin's side, and I think that's what they want. They're getting extra point time, and that's been their savior every round until now.
Well, almost just now dismounts, but he's got rKuhl waiting for him around the wings. Cassie back to base. Wadu cleaned up as well, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. Evulli is rolling on through in that King Bomb and finds the kill onto Ghogert. rKuhl is just holding this angle and hasn't found maybe enough damage here in this fight. Wadu uses the reanimate to get right back into this fight. Triple Deeps have a small point percentage lead, but watch out as this Raum comes rumbling right back into this mid-fight. He goes. Wadu is in full backpedal mode, and Snappin' have retaken the mid.
God, I think that's on rKuhl. He's just not used to all this pressure. He just sat there scoped, even with the respawn from the Cassie coming, even with Run coming. He's just like, nah, I'll hit someone. Nah, I'm good. And just committed till he died, and losing that pressure is just, it's just too much for Triple Deep he has to recover from.
Well, looks like this one might be coming to a close. 15 minutes in, 99%, almost gets the kill onto Poison. Ghogert down as well. It's a DPS, a healer, a frontliner, and a dream now for Triple Deeps to tie up this game. FlameFX playing zone, nobody in range, and Snappin' is going to take the win.
Flame's so aggressive in the end, and again, that extra pressure from that Raum. I thought maybe they'd only let it through because they had an answer to it, but clearly they didn't. He's just all over them in the back. No matter how quickly they turned, they just didn't have the CC or the damage close to save Cool.
And you were curious, kind of towards the mid of that game, you were really thinking that the lack of IO made a big difference there for Triple Deeps. After seeing the way the rest of that game played out, is that something you still probably stand by?
I think so, because Wadu could have been playing a little bit more defensive and peeling for his team with the Siphon, which he was on the pushes. Those were going a little bit better than the mid fights were. If they had had IO, so they could have kept WoodKnock kind of pressured, not let him cap for free, I think the later fights would have been significantly easier for them.
And Triple Deeps, they were able to kind of edge themselves back into this one. They get a mid-fight win, don't get much progress, maybe halfway there on that offensive push. But I think that this is what Snappin needed. I mean, after losing the last couple of maps pretty convincingly, get yourself back into this one, find yourself a win, keep this set in contention. You still need to win 2 more straight, but I don't know if we need to say many other names other than Evulli at 28-12 on that BK.
Yeah, that was... I'm shocked about that, honestly, with how his damage was looking, but I guess he was just finding all the finishing blows. All the damage on the other side wasn't getting healed. More likely, he was winning those duels. Yep. Able to play, I think, the edges of what Bomb King can do perfectly.
And you know, as much of a good game I think that is for Snappin, not only just to get themselves mentally back in this set, I think Evulli as well. You know, come back into this one, week number 1 of the PPC. It's been a tough first couple of games for you. Let's just get a massive performance on a Bomb King under your belt, back to comfort, back to some semblance of confidence. And that's nerve-wracking. I mean, you look at Evulli when he's playing his top blaster play, especially if you look back towards the LAN League last year, he was one of the best when he was playing at his best, and I think that this game was a small glimpse at that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I totally agree them being able to do that. But even after this, you're feeling like, oh man, yeah, we took it. We can reset this momentum. But now you're looking at 2 different map picks from the other team because of the lead that they have. I think it's going to be tough to not end up on a map where their comp is so comfortable and easy to play that you're going to need monstrous performances if you want to keep it on your side.
Well, this map pick from Snappin does go their way as they're able to take us to Splitstone Quarry and find the win. Stone Keep. It's going to be map number 4. Still set point here for Triple Deep. Snappin have to win the next 2 in order to grab themselves the win. It's another map, Kresnik, where Bomb King, he works pretty well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see it taken early by Triple Deeps or banned by them, honestly. They are on first pick, so they could go for it if they want, but I wouldn't be shocked to see them prioritize Androxus, anything like that they really have kind of likened their composition because he can be so safe while also having the choice to go and fight anywhere, more or less.
Well, Triple Deeps have opted for the same 2 bans as they have throughout the rest of this set. Take away the Eevee, take away the Furia. The Furia ban, a little bit different, but take her off of the board. Androxus and Genos, it's been a favorite ban pair for Snappin up to this point. I think that's smart. I think realizing that Bomb King likely would have been picked up for Evulli, Triple Deeps is going to take that BK right off the board. So now you got Evulli searching for some other champion to play.
Yeah, but even then, I think there's a decent amount of choices, and ending up with a Inara Raum is kind of a big deal for Snappin, I think. The Raum on Flame was so good last game that they're going to need some really strong peel to stop that from happening, and Khan could be it. Vortex Grip on the Raum, not let him stay in, plus the Vivian damage on the Raum. We saw how good that was in our earlier sets. They might have the answer for the Raum this time.
Well, the big question, of course, now is do they move back towards that IO that worked for them in games 1 and 2, or do they opt for something a little bit different like they did on Splitstone Quarry? Grover is what Snappin will stick with, I think. It's a good play. Grover has been working out not only for Snappin when we've seen him, but for a lot of other teams so far in week number 1, Grover's been a popular pick. It is the IO that Triple Deeps are going to go back to and try to find some semblance of the success that they had in games 1 and 2.
I am terrified of the Triple DPS draft right now. That is horrifying, and I want to say I don't know if this is the answer to it because I just haven't seen him play too much, but Tiberius is very good at winning 1v1s and getting spam. That slow on the heavy blade is huge, and they seem to be ready to pull it out.
All right, Kresnik, what do you like in that Tiberius? You think it's a good pick here?
I think Tiberius is pretty solid. Again, it's so hard to 1v1 him when he has combat trance up, and Heavy Blade Slow might be the most obnoxious thing I've ever had to play against in this game to date. So if they ever want to get on him, they're not moving anywhere.
Well, it's game number 4 here in our third and final set of PPC. Week number 1, day number 1, snapping. They're going towards that Tiberius to try to find themselves some success, keep themselves in this set. Triple Deeps, they've moved back towards a composition that worked for them so well in games 1 and games 2. Tony the Tiger rearing his head for the first time in the PPC. It's going to be Stone Keep, and it's going to be Snappin' that are picking him up. Where do you maybe expect Evulli to try to position himself on this Tiberius? I mean, so much mobility in that kit.
I think he's going to be the one dismounting, because if you just spam blind into Banana with Tiberius, you're probably going to get a dismount. There's also, once you're inside Keep, there's actually some angles you can take inside the Keep that go all the way into the enemy fire, having so much control without being in any threat at all. You can see here early dismounts from that. That slow also is going to stop people from going Keep, so a lot of pressure that Triple Deeps aren't going to have because of that one cooldown.
I'm so excited, especially because it's Evulli playing it. I mean, a lot of the conversations we had around him last year were like, if you take away the Bomb King, you take away the Eevee, the Maeve was also kind of in that conversation. You know, it starts to get maybe a little bit murkier for him after some of those champions. Obviously, he can play almost anything in this game at a very high level. But I'm interested to see how he picks up this Tiberius now, because not only is it the first time we'll see it, but I'm interested to see if Evulli has gotten him already to a point where he can be very competitive and find some wins here in this league.
I feel like historically, Evulli's backlines in general haven't been as strong as his blasters and flankers, so this being something that I wouldn't normally put him on, it is going to be interesting to see how he has taken to it over time. And again, these, like I said, these free bounces, getting those dismounts all the way back there. Only one person remains on Mountain. It's their healer, all the way separate from the team. That's not where you really want to be at the start of a mid.
Yeah, plenty of damage, plenty of potential. Tiberius here. First blood, though. That goes the way of Triple Deeps. Let's get rid of Io's Fox, but the rest of your team has fallen in the meantime. Almost. Bones, WoodKnock, they all drop down. The kind of reverse flank almost has been great from rKuhl, who's got himself a double kill. It's now the Raum as the last man standing. The retake was sudden, it was swift, and it was successful here from Triple Deeps.
Huge stagger there at the end on Flame, too, so 66%. Climbing now, it's going to be tough for them to come in, especially into the enemy composition. I mean, how do you push into BK Viktor Vivian with a Khan protecting them while Luna caps the point? It's almost impossible. You can see that Inara, even through Mother's Grace, almost getting 100 to 0 before she can even get close.
Your guess is as good as mine on that question, Kresnik, and Snappin'. I don't think they've had this one figured out just yet either. rKuhl starting off this game on a 7 streak on the Viktor. So much of the emphasis is on Tiberius. You gotta be concerned about a Viktor that hasn't quite been challenged yet up to this point. You know, you have 2 minutes of data to look at. But what have you, any nuance from what you've seen, how Evulli is looking to play this Tiberius?
I think he needs to move with the Raum more, because Raum can't really 1v1 any of the DPSs on the other side. There's just too much damage, and he has to have some backup. Tiberius is pretty much the only person who really can, and he's just playing on his own, trying to flank and take 1v1s, but it seems like Triple Deeps are kind of savvy to this. They're not really getting into a situation where Tiberius is going to get that 1v1.
Kresnik, they have found almost nothing on the snapping side of things. 10 streak burning away for rKuhl. This Viktor hitting every target he needs. Barrage is going to drop down, plug away some damage, but largely shrugged off by FlameFX. Evulli's going to get aggressive. Finally a kill onto the board, and what better target could you choose other than rKuhl on that Viktor? The rest of Triple Deeps is in range. Poppy Bomb backwards from Poison. Bones trades out the kill, and Ghogert now here playing back behind his Khan, rather. Triple Deeps, they're on the retake here. Now you've just got Inara on WoodKnock trying to keep things alive here, but this payload is going to roll itself in. Triple Deeps, they stay alive, and they get point number 2.
These DPSs are just so monstrous. It's just so hard to fight into them. Wadu undying because this Io is allowing him to not have to sit on the point. He can play anywhere that he wants to protect his DPS, and it's going to be so much harder for Flame to do anything. Anything at all. Anyone he tries to pressure, he's going to be stunned for a couple seconds, and there's too much damage for him to survive any form of CC like that.
Yep. Yeah, I think Cool was on a 10 or an 11 streak before finally getting taken out there. 8-1-4 is where this Viktor lines up. 1-3-1 for Evulli on that Tiberius. FlameFX found plenty of success on Splitstone Quarry on that Raum, but at 0-5-1, for all of the reasons and more I think that you've listed, he has just not found a lot of success here on Stone Keep to start this one out. That's a good route to start out for Snappin', but it's just going to delay maybe the inevitable as the rest of Triple Deeps have moved themselves forward here. And this is the moment where Snappin' really need to try to turn things around. It's hard to win, 4 points in general, but to win 4 straight if Triple Deeps go up here, it's going to be tough.
I love the concept of how they play around the IO too, because they just make room and make it so you can't shoot at it. Actually, he uses the ultimate for the CC immunity, but there's no one there to back him up again, and Flame just melts.
Absolutely destroyed by the 3 members of Triple Deeps that are still there and looking at him. Whirlwind is going to cover the escape of the last 3 members of Snappin' the Vine. We're just going to get Grover out to safety. But look at the way Triple Deeps storm the gates here. They just leave Luna and Io back on the point. 84% from them. Snappin' right back on the attack. There is an overpower ready to go if need be. FlameFX stunned up. Poison finishes off the kill. Overtime is on here. Tiberius, so hard to track, is going to grab the kill onto the Bomb King. Almost with a nice double kill from Snappin', keeps them in the conversation, but nobody's looked at Ghogert this entire time. You got Viktor on one side, you got Vivian on the other. Big grenade sets up a couple of kills. Down goes Snappin' in point number 3, potentially here in just a moment, over to Triple Deeps.
That was an incredible Vortex grip by Wadu, catching Flame mid-dash going to the point. If Evulli wasn't ulting and flying onto the point with those charges from Tiberius, they wouldn't have had it because of that perfect prediction from him. But now Triple Deeps are just going to set up forward and not give him a chance to spam Luna. By taking this ground, they won't be able to stop that free cap that they have, and Triple Deeps are going to get so much free cap time just off the sake of the amount of the raw damage that they have.
Well, you got 2 minutes left for Snappin' to try to defend this one. Triple Deeps are going to use maybe all of that. Might not need it. FlameFX falls again on this Raum. Wadu solo tanking Khan this time, hanging out around the corner. Evulli just as rough a game as FlameFX. Evulli on that Tiberius. Haven't quite seen what maybe he was hoping we would. 3-4 now members left alive from Snappin'. Bones picked off. This is the heavy stagger, Kriznik. Things are looking dire here for Snappin'.
So tough for Bones right now. How do you play Grover into this when your tank is holding that corner? You can't. What do? You cannot heal them, and now you can tell it's this payload's knocking on the 4-0. They're going to have to find another answer fast.
That's a big double stun. The King Bomb rolls through. Vortex grip is up. Wadu grabs the overpower. Off the map you go, but the dodge roll keeps almost alive. Could that be a big difference maker? We'll have to see. Just delays the inevitable there. WoodKnock is the last member in range. Last member left alive. Triple Deeps. They stumble a little bit in game number 3, but the 4-0 on map number 4, and they take this set over Snappin'.
Snappin', I think, they had a good Raum game, and they're like, that's it. Raum wins games. Yep. And he doesn't. You have to play off of him. You have to work with him somehow. He had no one with him. If maybe Evulli had been jumping in on the people he was diving, coming in with a combat trance, maybe those fights would have been a little more one-sided. But Viktor, Vivian, Raum is trying to 1v2 them. It's just not going to work out.
Well, I don't think anyone has to think very hard about the way these post-game stats will look. FlameFX 0-10-1 on that Raum. Not quite the debut that Tiberius was hoping for at 1-7, 0-7 on WoodKnock. But on a lighter note, 3-0-15, 13-1 for rKuhl. I think anywhere you look, you could read out the entire Triple Deeps lineup there on slash lines, and they're all pretty. This is a convincing win through and through.
I will say, Evulli did good in the damage department. Not bad at all. I mean, but almost was, Wadu was only 4k behind it in terms of damage, constantly harassing that Inara. So Evulli decently far top damage for his team, but just the fact that the off-tank wasn't able to make anything happen, there was just nothing else he could do.
I hope that doesn't dissuade other teams from moving into the Tiberius, though. I'm so excited to see him played at the highest level and what he can bring to the table. Maybe just not the matchup that they were looking for here, but that is our final game for broadcast today. Let's look at the schedule and see what we've seen down here in NA. Triple Deeps, the big 3-1 over Snappin'. Flashpoint NA start off their campaign with 3-0 as well, and Team Project with the 3-1. You know, you look at all the teams in this region, Kriznik. I mean, it's almost too early to predict, but specifically North America, are there any names that kind of stand out to you as the team to beat?
I mean, looking at it, you got to say Flashpoint NA, right? If you're just looking at the power on that team. But I think it's between Triple Deep's Flashpoint and Team Project. I think those are all the teams that you have to be looking out for to contest the top of this region.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued because there's so much, you know, ex-Pro League talent that is now in this iteration of this Pro League, and I think Flashpoint, one of those teams that is still rife with talent, Team Project as well. And the standings show it. 3-0 for Flashpoint Project, just one game behind. Triple Deeps, obviously one game behind. I think I agree with your sentiment, and I think that these standings also agree with that sentiment. These teams just happen to not match up against one another this week. But I wouldn't be super surprised if this is, you know, however many weeks from now, moving towards the mid-season, these teams are the ones that maybe shake out as those top three.
Yeah, I mean, and I also wouldn't be shocked to see any of the bottom teams kind of figure out how they want to play and
I agree.
Surging up. I think these teams have been taking maps off each other in scrims and looking at them as they figure things out as they're back to playing online, making new rosters. This is how I expect the top three to be, but I think that like Snap-In has so much talent that I need them to figure out how they want to play. HP OfficeJet are coming up with so many unorthodox strategies that they're pulling out in scrims, and once those click, I could see a super contested region.
Yeah, don't forget HP OfficeJet Pro 6978. You have the rest of it. What is
HP
it?
OfficeJet Pro 6978 wireless all-in-one instant ink ready printer, I believe.
Yeah, Kresnik's got that one figured out. That's all we got for you though today in the Paladins Pro Circuit. Week number 1, day number 1, some great games we had going down the line. Make sure to stay tuned at Paladins Pro on Twitter to stay on top of our schedule and all of the games as we've been broadcasting them. On behalf of myself, Kresnik, everyone back in production, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.